Record.
God bless America.
I plan to win on economy, national security, and family. No one else is talking about family. You have to strengthen the families of the United States of America. You have to strengthen them if you want a strong nation.
Through the night with the light from above, from the mountain.
Because there is hope for America yet. There absolutely is. There's great hope. I have a great vision for a 22nd century America, but we have to move past this stain, the stain of the vitriol, the stain of the rhetoric, the stain of you've got to be so extreme on either side in order to even have a microphone, or you have to sell your soul to the devil to get on a platform. Give me a break.
This is strong Trump country.
Yes.
I'm just being honest. It is strong Trump company. So
It's God country, not Trump country.
Land that I love, and beside her, and guide her through the night with the light from above, from the mountain to the prairies, to the oceans, wide with foam.
God bless each of you, and may God bless these United States of America. Thank you.
God bless America, my home sweet home, my home sweet.
Why should Africa even consider, lifting your name anyway? You say this is a man we can call.
I think Africa has a highly vested interest, in my opinion and perspective, to Roland Roberts becoming president of the United States, because I will be the greatest friend to Africa has ever had. Africa is used to being pillaged by different regimes, whether it's European countries or even the United States, where we have turned our back on many African nations and leaders, as this administration has. I'm telling you, I will get out of the foreign aid business where we give it to our left hand over there and it never goes to the people. And instead, we will get into the investment business. I believe that Africa is the continent of Africa is the last greatest economic frontier in the world. We must be the best partners any African nation could possibly imagine. We need to double, triple, quadruple, 10x what the China's Belt and Road Initiative was. They built roads that were halfway, that crumble, that fall apart, an infrastructure that cannot be counted on, and is just to undermine and to take and steal from the African governments and the people. And America, under my leadership, will do right by the nations of Africa. We will collectively and collaboratively invest, and that's one of the ways I'm going to pay off our national debt, is by investing in Africa. We're not going to give handouts. We are going to loan the money, and then that will help pay off. As you are successful, so will the United States of America be. You cannot ignore Africa. 70% of the world's youth will reside on the African continent by 2030. Nearly 20% of the world's population will be on that continent. With a super majority of the world's youth, that means every business in the world needs to be in tune with Africa, because Pop culture is going to depend on what African youth want. Fads, clothing designers will depend on what African youth want. The future will be however African youth are educated, that is the direction of the world. So we have a vested interest, a financial interest, a national security interest, and yes, even a peaceful unity and unifying interest in helping Africa.
Music to my ears. I love it.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Team Rollan Robert, Presidency, Loving Family. Let me get my thing on. We are happy to be here tonight to make sure that all of our different teammates are, coming in. Make sure we have already invited people, that they all are here and ready to come and participate, because some of us have been networking all day. So I would like to welcome everyone to this platform. Feel free to participate, and welcome to Dr. Rollan Robert, next President of the United States of America. Welcome, guys. Thank you.
Well, good evening, Dr. Wilson. That color looks amazing on you.
Thank you.
Very vibrant tonight. And I want to just say hello to everyone in Iowa, and good evening, United States of America. In case you've missed the news today, we're at war. There's a war in Israel. There's a war in Yemen. There's a war in Ukraine. Our terror threat is rising exponentially. We're in a proxy war with Iran. We're in a proxy war with Russia, and China plans to take back Taiwan. And our border is completely open, and we are deciding to bring every ethnic conflict in the world into our backyard. So with that, that is your recap for today's news. I can tell you, ultimately, that is why we're here. Because these are the kind of headlines. That's just today. But this has become a way of life to us, where so many people just say, yes, I already knew that. I know. See, that's not the way we're supposed to live. That's not what life is supposed to be about for anybody on planet Earth. I believe that everyone has God-given dreams inside of them. No matter what part of the world I go to, you can go talk to the poorest person in their remotest village or field, and I'm telling you, there's something in them that they would like to do, they aspire to do, they enjoy doing, they would like to do more of, and governments get in the way of humanity over and over and over again. And many of our problems are self-inflicted. Most of our problems are man-made. They're not that they are unsolvable. The tactical strategic answers to solving our greatest problems today are not difficult. What's difficult is the human emotions and the pride associated with the various sides. That's always what it comes down to. And even Proverbs tells us that only by pride cometh contention. So you can't have conflict without there being pride. And so one of the things that I wanted to share with you tonight is, and of course you see I stopped by our next home to see how things were going, and our advanced team will be on the ground tomorrow in Des Moines, Iowa. And so we are looking forward to jam-packed days of being with you. And we are here at the next to last night of these live meetings. And it has been such an encouragement and a blessing to me, because when we received the instruction, the divine orders that this was the strategy and this is what to do for 2 weeks. This was our Jericho, our walking around the walls. Just be faithful, just keep walking, just keep doing it. We weren't looking at, okay, well, is the ground starting to shake? Is the wall starting to crumble? We just kept doing the instructions we were given divinely. And I can tell you, I am grateful for each one of you who have walked this journey. Every night, tomorrow will be the end of the second week in our final concluding night. And I have a special guest that will be on as well that you'll be able to hear from. But I can tell you that we expect the wall to fall this Monday night in Iowa. I was in conversations today, and they said this will be the greatest political upset and the greatest political miracle in the history of the United States. They said, what happens if you take victory Monday night in Iowa, it will be the greatest victory in a presidential campaign that there's been. And I said, well, we have the people. We have the people who are motivated, who are they're not passive. You know, a lot of campaigns have passive supporters. They have people that if you're out and about, they're casual supporters. They yeah, I support them. Now, would they go through floods to go vote for them? Probably not. You know, if there's the slightest little inconvenience, would they still go? No, probably not. If they had a flat tire on the way to the caucus, would they keep going, or would they just wait and then fix it and go back home because it's been so frustrating of an experience? Probably. And I'll tell you, that's one of the reasons why there's some things that we can proactively do to mentally guard against the enemy trying to get a foothold Monday night, because he will. I need you to, in your mind right now, know that something may be thrown at you that you're not expecting. And so there's things you can do to help safeguard yourself to make sure that you can still go to the caucus and stand up and nominate Rollan Roberts for president. One of the things you can do is plan on going straight from work to grabbing a bite to eat to your caucus location. Most of the caucus locations open at 5 p.m. Okay, so you can go straight there. And that's important, because what happens when people go home? Well, remember, we need 15,000 people to show up Monday night in snow and in cold weather and with whatever challenges after work that there are. And so how do you make sure 15,000 people don't get sidetracked? I can tell you, it's very easy when you've been out in the cold and you get into your lazy boy recliner and you pop that thing up, the footrest up, and you get a warm cup of coffee or tea, and the fireplace is going, and it's so easy to just go, someone else is going to go nominate him. Someone else will write it. He already has enough. I can tell you, we don't already have enough. We don't. And so we're counting on the mobilization of this team to do it. And I have a special message. One of the things that, there are many people in the United States that, regardless of how you feel about him, do not want Donald Trump to be the next president. Many people feel that way. And the Democrats are not running a caucus or a primary really against Joe Biden, because he's the de facto nominee, as they've stated. That's why RFK Jr. got out and went independent. The reason why that's important is because that means that those who are registered Democrats could even go and switch their registration at their caucus location, which the link is provided in the chat, so you can know exactly where you need to go. We can have an army of people of even Democrats who want to support our message. We have had so many Democrats switch to Republican just to be able to support and vote for me in this primary. And I'm grateful for that, because a lot of people talk about unifying the country, but what they really mean is unifying their party. And that's still, best case scenario, 50.1% of the country. even if you have every last single person in your party with you, you still have not united the country. You united your party. And no one party is the United States of America. We are a country with many parties. And I am a president for all. And so in this, the way it's laid out, I need the support of Americans, but all Americans, but they have to be registered as Republican to vote in the primary. Now you can switch to back to whatever your preference is for the general election, because I would be on the general ballot at that point. Okay, so I need everyone that has a vested interest in not just who you don't want. I have not run this campaign on the negative and on running against something or against someone. We have run completely on our vision of a 22nd century America that we believe will have the blessing of God on it as we acknowledge him in our need of him in America again. And that message of, and what that looks like is that I, as president, will do right by all American citizens and do right by all people and nations of the earth. I mean, can you imagine a presidency that was committed to that? We don't even know the far-reaching impacts that will have, but we know that it's deep and it's profound. And so I challenge and encourage all who are under the sound of my voice through the different platforms and through the meetings to go to the caucus locations at 5 p.m. And that way you have time. You can do it right on the spot. You can switch your registration, or you can register for, in this scenario, you can register or switch your party affiliation, because only registered Republicans can vote that night. And then you will be able to do it. I would love to see such full and complete mobilization. And that will take not only an act of God, but a miracle. But I believe in miracles. I remember when I was invited to speak in China. It was a Tuesday evening, but that previous weekend we had had a CEO cruise, and one of my great friends in Africa was with me, and he was on the CEO cruise, and he's been a great blessing. And I told him, he said, I'm going to start reaching out to different governments and letting them know, how we can help and things. And I wasn't too sure. And I said, well, let's think about it. And Sunday, before we got off the cruise ship, right before dinner, I tracked him down and I said, whatever you do, do not reach out to a single government. I said, whoever I am meant for will find me. They will come to us. I have spent my life making things happen. I refuse to make this happen. If God wants to elevate me, he will do it. I will not do it. And so, of course, that usually means that it's not going to happen, right? Because think about everything we've ever learned about sales, everything you've ever learned about marketing. You have to be out there. You have to keep putting things out, and you have to follow up, and you have to be persistent. And how can they hire you if they don't know who you are or what you do? And but it didn't matter. I knew the instruction was do not, and I communicated that to him. So that was Sunday night. We got off the cruise ship Monday morning, went back, and that Monday we were driving to West Virginia. Tuesday evening, I was going to be speaking with some business students at a WVU affiliate campus. And so we were on our way for me to address these business students for a couple hours when I got the message. And you want to know through Facebook Messenger, got a request with all of the details to speak in Beijing in the Great Hall of the People and address the government and business leaders of China. That is how we have been led. And so I have seen, when I say I have seen the Red Sea part, I mean things that are impossible, they happen because only God can do it. And I have walked that way. This is not the first time. And I'm certain it's not the last unless he returns me to the soil from whence I came, early. But it won't be the last time, because that's how I have, that's how he has led me. What's most important in my personal journey and walk is that I obey, that I do with precision, and with a right attitude and a right heart, what I'm supposed to do. And then there are wonderful people around me, a very strong team, which many of you have heard and have gotten to meet through these series of meetings. And I am able to, they understand that and they walk that with me. And so whenever they hear me many times say, I don't know, not now, let's hold, we can't right now, let's do it. But then they usually get a text at some point and say, move now, here's how we want to do it. Even I think a couple of days ago, I said to one, and I said, it just came to me. This is what we must do. And it's not that I just had the idea. It's that the direction was just given to me. And that is that is what the United States of America, that's the kind of leadership we need. It is certainly what the world needs. That's why your life will be better. That's why your physical health will be better, because you won't be as anxious. You won't be as discouraged and on pins and needles as to what's going to happen tomorrow, what's going to happen tonight, what crime is going to happen in your neighborhood, what's going to happen with those that you love. What about your family relationships? What about your children who are experimenting with different things, or often going a different direction, and straining family relationships in all directions, and broken families and broken homes and broken marriages. I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, who we have as president of the United States matters to you. And Iowa is the gatekeeper. Iowa, this Monday night, isn't it interesting that it's just a one-time thing? Whoever shows up, that's what it is. And if everyone shows up for Mickey Mouse, then Mickey Mouse, if it was a person, it is. That's how this goes. Mickey Mouse is not registered with the FEC as far as I know, so he would be disqualified. But I am registered and I am running. And so this is why we know God has led us to this place with each of you. So no matter who you are, no matter what your beliefs are, no matter what issues are important to you, whatever causes are important to you, I'm telling you, none of them will advance regardless of which side you're on. It will not advance. We will not be able to, neither side will ever get any semblance of what they want and what's important to them until the nation as a whole is able to move past this current level. It's really a rut of thinking that we are in. We must look forward, not ignoring what is. Everything that is will be addressed. But you know what I have found in running companies? When the company starts making a lot of money and really growing, all of the problems that we seem to have, all of the personnel issues that we seem to have, all of the infighting that we had, seem to just magically work itself out whenever everybody is winning. It's time for us to win as a nation again in a great way. That's when you go to Roaring Twenties parties and you see the fun and you see the, what things used to be like. That's what happens when everyone is winning. And I want every American to win. That's why I want every Iowan to caucus for us this Monday night at 7 p.m. So I'm asking you, regardless of what you have to do, regardless of what it takes, regardless of the price you have to pay to be there, to switch your registration, to register to vote, to bring your utility bill and your ID if you need to register for the first time, or your proof of address that they have a list of what acceptable documents, whatever you have to do. It doesn't matter if it would bring tears to the eyes of a pilgrim. I'm asking you in Jesus' name to do it and to be there. Not for me, not for me, not just for me, not just for us, but for the America that we know God wants to bless. So speak up and stand up, and with the help of God, we will be victorious. I will close by saying, I received word today by phone. There is a very influential president, and his sentiments to me was that they are watching our campaign very closely with high anticipation. They're very hopeful. They know Monday night will take a miracle. They are watching Iowa keenly. And they know that it would take it does take a miracle. But they're believing and standing with us because they know that this is what the world needs for such a time as this. So with that, I want to thank you all for being here tonight. I want to turn it to Dr. Shirley Clark to be able to greet right off the bat. I can't even tell you. I have people every day, I think, Dr. Shirley, that tells me you are the highlight of our days. And you know what? I tell them, I agree. She's the highlight of mine when I get to hear like that too. And so I'm grateful. Go ahead and take the floor. And if you want to give a word of support or what God is doing in your heart or what this campaign and what it has meant to you, go ahead and raise your hand in the in the Zoom, in the meeting, and that way we'll know who to go to next. Dr. Shirley, floor is yours.
We are in trenches now. This is a trench moment, and we need to understand where we're at. You have to take action in these critical moments and be prepared to move forward and do what you need to do. And I'm glad you're reiterating this, making sure that we are on this wall and that we're there. You can't take moments like this lightly, and you've got to be ready to show up and do what you got to do. One of the things I've learned is that we sometimes we get excited on the way, but we don't manifest on the moment that we need to be manifesting. And so if you heard Dr. Rollan Hart, you know he needs you to show up, find everybody, text people, go through. Easiest thing you can do is go through your phone. The phone, they're in your phone. So that means for the most part, they already agreed to be a friend or fan of yours. And so just send stuff out continuously. And there's so many ways to do it. You can, I like automation. You can tonight set it up for all day long to go out at intervals and remind your people to get to the polls. If you need to meet with me on the side, like I said, I can show you all of these things that you can put in place even now. Google, you can schedule emails to go out throughout the day. When we're on these things at night, I'm going through my phone. I've already set up a bunch of stuff and said, we lie. Show up looking for it. So you schedule this in advance. So you want to get the pressure off of that day and go ahead and schedule things. And so you won't feel like you're running around. We just got to be on the wall. My goal right now is to make sure we are positioned everywhere, especially in the prayer, because I know legitimate things will happen even before you get there. Children get sick, all kinds of things will happen. So you have to get on the wall to pray. And so I want to at least just say that, Dr. Rob, there's ways we can get this. Some people are feeling overwhelmed a little bit. If you want to jump on, I can do a quick 15 minutes outside of these Zooms and show you how to schedule your day so your focus will be right there and others. And then you have even do follow up where it says we alive, show up, looking forward to you. All these things that can be automated and your day is easy on that day. And then when you're there, you're greeting people, you're doing what you need to do on that day to be a friend of Dr. Rollan Roberts and encouraging people, let them know this is a moment in a time. We're so excited they're there. Like, whatever, give them buttons or whatever we have available. Only thing I want to say tonight is that make sure everybody go ahead and sign up. And I'll put the sign up sheet in. Listen, I know if I just get everybody in the chat and those that have been on this Zoom, this would have been completed. Just complete. I wouldn't be saying this again other than to remind you. And we have and I can tell you right now, we are going to fill the form. But the key to this is to get people who have the investment in the land. You have to understand when you start warring, especially with governmental, those of you that you live in the area, you have more authority. When you study these types of warfare, you have authority in the area more than those who are not. So I need to get those of you that's in that area to sign up tonight. In just a moment, I'll put it there and I'm gonna say it in the chat. I really need y'all to move on it because you are gonna carry this thing. You all are in the area. And so we need you to sign up. Listen, as I close out the Rob, I can go on and on about all this incredible stuff. One of the things I want to say is that when you are getting ready for something like this, you have to know there are 3 stages. There's the preparation, the position, and the perseverance. And so we've got to prepare. We've been preparing for a while. That means you're suitable, you're fortified. We know what we've been doing, but you got to be positioned properly. And so this is what we're doing now, what Stefan we've been doing and Dr. Roberts been sharing, all of us, we're being positioned. And so we've got to stay in that position. So we got to persevere. And so you got to make sure you're always on. And let me just say, I've learned this growing up in the things of God and as spiritual moms taught me. The whole while you are there, all day long, you need to be praying under your breath. You never assume that. Don't just pray the hour. You pray. We have prayed the whole day. That means your lips is moving. Nobody don't have to hear. You're under your breath. You're monitoring things. You're not just going there. You're watching the temperature. If you feel things are rising up, you need to be on the wall. You need to really be monitoring. If you're with Dr. Roberts, you need to monitor people, monitor what's going on, people, cars, watch. You have to be a watchman throughout the entire day. You can't take anything for granted. Dr. Roberts, when he coming in, everything, monitor people. I can't even tell you what I've ran into here and just things going, we thinking everything is fine. Folks are there for Dr. Roberts. Sometimes they can be disrupted to somebody else. And I'm thinking, are you with me or what? But they don't always want you. They want somebody, Dr. Roberts, so they're not treating you right. So you monitor that. Dr. Marie, y'all have to monitor the temperature, just the whole atmosphere. Because people they'll treat Dr. Roberts well, but they might not treat his other people well. So you got to be monitoring, watching that, being in the gap on all of this stuff. Let me just say, I want to say that, remember, America is on life support. This is a damage control moment here. And so we've got to be in the if position. If, Second Chronicles 7:14 telling us to pray, do all these things, the land would be healed. And so listen, if we would do the if, I tell people the word is that God would do the shift. So we need to make sure we are positioned and know that I love what when Rebecca was pregnant. This is about Dr. Roberts being ordained at the very beginning of time for this moment. And Rebecca in the Genesis talked about she had twins. But the thing that I love about that, when the word of God spoke about that, It didn't say that she had twins, she had 2 fetus, that she had 2 nations inside of her. And so that's what Dr. Roberts is. He's got this nation, the America inside him. He's birthing out. And so we've got to be in a place to really make sure we help him birth it out. He can't do this by himself. So we really need to press in and make sure we're positioned and we're watchmen on that day. I know you want to have a ball, you want to do all this stuff, but this is really a time to really stay on the wall. And sometimes you need to walk and carry your weight. Those of you that have weight in the spirit, you need to just walk in areas and be mindful on it. There's so much in this thing about this, but just know every generation is pregnant with the next move of God. So Dr. Roberts is pregnant with the next move of God. And so we've got to stay on the birthing stool. We got to stay long enough until we have a full manifestation of this. Dr. Robert, I'm going to turn it back over, but here's the thing I want you to do. Sign up today. I can get my team to do it, but I really want those of you that live in the area, because you have more authority in that land, and you're going to carry more weight and dislodging demonic spirits of things that are going to disrupt that day. So we should not be, let me just say it like that, Doctor, you should be in the game more than anybody.
Yes.
And so being at this point and seeing, so a lot of time, the first thing I would have done was signed up with the prayer, because most people just don't realize how important this, we can get religious on different disciplines in the church that we don't really see the manifestation. But when I saw us do this in 2012 and God locked up this region just because we prayed, and less than 200 people, and Dr. Roberts talking about all of this. We don't need all of these. We just need the purpose of God worked out. And when we saw that, God brought the ice storm, and we didn't know how to shut the airport down. But someone came to me and said, Dr. Clark, there's a chaplain I know of the DFW airport. We had to shut the airport down. So an ice storm came, a snowstorm, never seen anything like this. It's in the newspaper. That locked the region up for 3 hours. Nobody could fly in, drive in, or walk, just because somebody chose to pray and bring the region together. And less than 200 people did that, in leaders. We work with the police departments. We work with everybody. And so what I'm trying to say is, if we would do the if, Dr. Roberts, God truly would do this year.
You're exactly right. You're exactly right. And Dr. Clark, as you were speaking, I remember Moses, when God sent him to Pharaoh, and he said, let my people go.
Right.
He didn't go with a sales pitch. He didn't go with an army. He didn't go with anything that even the Israelites thought is how they would be delivered. When you've been in captivity and bondage and slavery for 400 years, you normally just don't go ask politely, and the master lets you go. And but he did, and he did not change his message every time. He was just consistent. Let my people go. This is the consequence when you don't. Let my people go. This is what happens if you don't. And I'm telling you, that's what I believe we have been for the past year of campaigning, number one. And number two, even in these 2 weeks of this divine order of what we've been charged to do here. And we've just been consistent about, let my people go. We are doing this on behalf of the people, not on behalf of a party, not on behalf of an interest group, not on behalf of a lobbyist or a specific group of people. We're doing this because every person in the world hopes that the United States of America will do right again. Their lives depend upon it. Their hopes, their futures depend upon us doing what is right. And God can do anything. God can take, if Iowa didn't show up, and if Iowa completely just nothing happens, and it's just a big nothing, God can still move and work and accomplish his purpose and still set me as the president of the United States, as Daniel 2:21 says. I know that.
Amen.
But you know what happens? You know what happens if we don't have the victory? We go one more day with idolatry in this nation. We go one more day with King Trump instead of King Jesus. We go one more day with strongholds and people being enslaved with the strongholds of idolatry and money being the God of this world. We go one more day of that. And I don't want another day with our very essence of the world we live in violating the first commandment, thou shalt have no other gods before me. And we have a lot of gods before him in this nation and in this world. And we are trying to pull down the stronghold of idolatry, of exalting so many other things, including politics itself, above the King of all kings. And so I appreciate you reiterating that. Stefan, I would love for you to come on because I know you probably have some details that will be helpful for everyone. If anyone needs to reach us while I'm on the ground, Stefan is the contact and handles the scheduling. And so he posted the link, the sign up sheet for both the caucus locations and also for so that we can communicate with you about where, what time and the location of the meet and greet on Saturday. Because whenever I land, we've got several things planned. But the main thing that day is you. I want to be able to spend some time with you. So you can see his number in the chat. Go ahead and take that down so that you can text. He may not always be able to take the phone call, but certainly text or call. He'll call if he can. And I do want to go back to one thing that Dr. Shirley said about if someone ever is treating my team differently than they're treating me. We won't be staying around that person or that place at all because I'm not comfortable with that. That's not okay with me because that's just not right. And so I hope that doesn't happen. And usually people aren't, they know me well enough to know that would not fly. That would not be good. That's certainly not how you ingratiate yourself to me. In fact, it's the fastest way for me to just say, now I know what kind of a person you are, and we can't, continue. So I just wanted to state that as well, in case that needs to, just for people to hear and know. I'm grateful for the people who are with me, the people who are going to be with me. We have traveled together, and several of them all over, and in many situations. I've told you before about Stefan and I, and some of the grueling schedules and flights and meetings that I've subjected him to, and then also Miguel and his amazing son Gaspar and Prince, and I mean these are just people that they are salt of the earth. They are sharp. They are on top of everything. There's never a time when it's just kind of where they're checking out or just disengaged, or I mean it is first class. And I am very grateful for a team like them that will be able to be there and they're not, obviously it's not a vacation. Most people don't go where it's 20 below and a foot of snow and you walk out and you can't breathe, and and some of them are I'll be coming from Florida, and so like I say, and I think for all of them, it's definitely colder. And actually, so is Stefan, West Palm Beach, Fort Lauderdale. I mean, you're going from tropical to this, but it's because it's not about that. You don't check the temperature and then go where God tells you to go. In fact, I think that was Jonah's problem. He's like, let me go to this island over here. I'll do your work over here, but But no, I want you to go over here. I'm looking forward to it. I've been in Iowa several times this year or last year, and I enjoy it. It's a beautiful state capital. Des Moines, just a beautiful place. I love being with Pastor Raley and his team and Bishop Tan
Yes.
and all of the group there, Pastor Success, Dr. Wilson. I mean, it was just a really special time. I think uh, the church service that I was with you all one of the nights, I think it went 4 hours. I know it started at like 8, and all I know is it was still after midnight when I was leaving. So I mean, it was a good time. And so I'm very grateful. I want to, Stefan, go ahead and give any last minute words that you have for people.
Thank you, Dr. Roberts. Yes, so thank you very much for your words. And I think now the last almost 2 weeks, we've heard a lot about you, a lot about obviously the policies. And I'm really thankful that we have you, that we can support you. And I think it's now the time that we have as obedient as you are, that, yeah, God brought us to this place, even to that meeting all together. We see what you can do, and it's not about you. You are putting yourself, yeah, in a humble and bold way, just below what God asked you to do. And I think it's really about us to be in that, and we live in that day. It's about today. It's that we have to take action, that you have to take action. You have to make sure you prepare yourself. Like Dr. Clark said, we have to anticipate what's going to happen on the Monday when other spirits will fight against each other. And we have to be prepared that we are not going to stay at home, but we are going to the caucus, that we raise our voice, that we stand up, that we nominate Dr. Roberts, because we see this is our chance. This is your chance that we can change this country, that you can lift and raise your voice, and suddenly you get a voice in the United States. And if we don't do it now, then, like Dr. Roberts said, then there's one more day that is not the way we want to live in this country. So it's really about being obedient, taking the stand, and prepare yourself. It's like in sports. You have to train each and every single day in a very, very hard way. And people only see the game and then the victory at the end, but they don't see what all this preparation, all the sacrifice that you're already doing, that you're mobilizing people. I know it's a lot of effort that you're putting in there, and it costs, but I think it's worth the effort. And at the end, we will see the victory, but let's not stop before Monday. Let's really work for Monday. Be there, come there, be prepared. And as we said, if you have any questions, reach out to me, and we are more than happy to help you out. And we are looking forward to also see you in person, to, yeah, that we encourage each other, even on a Saturday, or then in different meetings when we see each other, maybe on Sunday or even Monday, in that live then on Facebook, where we can also just get together as a group and make sure that a Monday night and even the after party will be a great thing. So thank you very much.
Excellent. Dr. Wilson, go ahead.
Like Dr. Clark was saying, I don't think anyone should be too concerned, because don't forget, I have another thing under my belt. I also a human rights and anti-human trafficking activist. So no one will be over there discriminating on any human being. Everyone will be treated correctly, because I do have a voice. Just want to make sure you guys are aware of that. Thank you.
Amen. Amen. Let me also bring on, I noticed a special guest, Coach Crystal Henry. I want you to go ahead and unmute and give us a word of support and kind of what you've seen as a part of this. I actually did an interview. She interviewed me on her show, Made to Lead Millions, maybe 6 months ago. I don't remember the exact month, but it was a while back. And you know, it was so many of the things we talked about. We got to the root of a lot of issues in the United States and the world at large. And so I'd love for you to just give a greeting. Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here. And what I will say about Dr. Rollan Roberts, he is definitely, without a shadow of a doubt, the next president of the United States. He is the one that everyone should vote for. And why? Because God called him to a position. Why? Because he is that David. Doesn't matter that everyone doesn't know him. God, he is God's man. And so I'm super excited about that fact. He is God's man. And then you look at everything he stands for, education, his policies on business, on how to handle educating our youth. Our youth is our future. And so when you look at his policies, you look at um, the definite way that he is able to speak to and be welcomed by other nations. And that is definitely what America needs. We need to rebuild America and trust in God again. In God we trust. One nation under God. And so that's what, when I spoke to him, when we interviewed, we had an extensive interview on my podcast, Made to Lead Millions podcast, and he just shared his heart. And so if you haven't heard it, I would say go back and listen, because he shared his heart. He shared what he believes in, and he is the man for the job. So that's what I would say. Make sure that you are there. Make sure that your vote counts, because it does. Every vote counts. And so make sure you are there, ready to allow your vote to count and make a difference, so that we can truly be one nation under God. I'm Coach Crystal. Thank you so much again. God bless you all.
Amen. Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing. I completely agree. When she says about how your vote counts, do you know that regardless of outcome, we're always responsible for how we vote? Did I vote my values? And I believe I'll give, as a believer, I believe I'll answer to God for how I vote, who I vote for, and things along those lines. So for me, it doesn't matter whether the person I vote for wins or not. It's, did I do right? Did I do right? Because it's not about, I had one, and this was a Christian, a big Christian evangelical in Iowa, who told me, well, this was at the very beginning. And he said, we're looking for which horse can win, literally. Like, we're in a horse race and I'm one of the horses. He said, we're looking for which horse can win. And well, that's interesting. I didn't know Samuel, when he went to Jesse's house, was looking for which horse could win. Okay. But I definitely know that's not what God is looking for. He's looking for surrender. And when no one did know who David was, but that was also how he was protected. And I'm telling you, when we take the victory Monday night, the next, it's going to be all sunshine and rainbows for a few days, everywhere around the world. But then the attack dogs will be out like never before. And we've had a year of protection, and it won't be pretty. I mean, the slander, the vitriol, just completely made up, all kinds of stuff will just start coming out, because they just assume anybody in politics, pretty much you can just throw any of these 4 or 5 accusations and you're going to hit something somewhere. And that's their thinking. And so it's so interesting. I see how God has moved us and brought us to this place, for such a time as this. It doesn't matter who knows and who doesn't and where everything is. But I do know that as we are victorious, we are victorious when we obey. You are victorious when you sit in that seat and you write my name on a piece of paper, and pass that in. That is victory. Just let a big smile right now as you crease that paper, and it says Rollan Roberts. You crease that paper and you hand that to pass it, and just sit back and smile and just know that you obeyed that you did what was right in the sight of God, just like I will do as president, that which is right in the sight of God, because it's always just this step. It's always just the next step. And so you can just kind of sense that. And, I'll be speaking at the caucus location we will be at. And hopefully we'll be able to get a lot of support at that location. But we need people to stand up at every location. Did you know you cannot just go over 100 locations around the state? You can't just go and write my name on a piece of paper. If no one stands up for you, even if there's 20 people there, someone has to stand up for you and nominate you and tell people why they should vote for you in a couple minutes in order for that to count when they write your name down. So if you're the only one and you're there to vote for Rollan Roberts and nobody else stands up and says, I'm nominating Rollan Roberts for president because of X, Y, Z, and you tell them about our meetings, you tell them what you've learned and what you've heard and about my heart and about our vision for America, and why it's so important, and what this will do for them. And I'm telling you, God will bless that. But if that doesn't happen, that piece of paper doesn't matter. So you have to, it's not enough to write it down. Someone has to nominate. Okay. And if nobody else does, guess what? It's you. It's you. You have to just say, I wasn't planning on being the person, but I will. And I promise you, you'll have strength and grace, and you can't say the wrong thing. Let me just ease everyone's mind about that right now. I take the pressure off. The will of God for this presidency is not going to be determined if you say one sentence wrong or get something out of order or stand up and you just think you fumbled all over yourself. Look, God is more powerful than us. We can't wreck his plans in that. What he needs is people just be willing to show up. That's always what he wants, just people who will actually go. He blesses that, not our eloquence, our obedience. So just be there. And I remember it's the same thing like I shared a few nights ago when I was in the embassy in Juba. And I was going against the State Department, and I was hoping that the seasoned Congress people and the seasoned U.S. ambassadors would be the ones to, diplomatically and following protocol push back. But when I saw it was the complete opposite, I literally in my mind remember saying, Lord, why me? Why on the first time does it have to be me? But I just knew it. And so then I raised my hand. Okay. All right, here we go. And I know many of you may feel that way on Monday night. You might. But I'm telling you, it's for such a time as this. Your reward in heaven will be great. Every act of obedience, you're laying up treasure in heaven. You're going to go to work Monday, or you may have it off with MLK Day, but you go to work, and you do a lot of things to accumulate here and to take care of things here and to get a new car here or another home here and this and that. But I'm telling you, this is a moment in time where your actions directly contribute to eternity. It's an investment in eternity. This is so much bigger than us. It's so much bigger than an election. And like I said, win Iowa, don't win Iowa, doesn't change what God has for us. What it changes is what happens in the land on the 16th and the 17th and every day until he does it. And I don't want to be responsible for that. I want to be able to know that we went full steam ahead in obedience. And the results are his. The results are his. That's why Moses didn't go in and just go, oh no, what do I do? Pharaoh said no. I can't, the results are up to him. My job is to go in, to stand up for what's right and let the outcome be what it is. And God can move hearts. He will move hearts. And I believe he's going to do a miracle. I trust that he will do a miracle in Iowa and beyond. Like I said, regardless of what happens, we are victorious, because greater is he that is in us than he that is in the world. So in closing tonight, I want to give a couple minutes to Greg. Well, he always has something, interesting, because he's just such a student. And so, Greg, if you'd like to kindly take the floor, it is yours.
You guys hear me?
Yes, sir.
Excellent. I want to tell you a story. One day I was in real need of an Uber, and I was walking. I ran to go to get the Uber, and I got in this guy's car thinking it was an Uber, and it ended up being a pastor. And the pastor said to me, he went to go hand me one of his tracts, and he said, I've been sitting in this car waiting to hand my tracts out to somebody this whole time. I might as well hand it to you. He said, but I'm not an Uber. And I said, I'm a believer. He said, so God sends me. So he says to me, God sent me out to go do this, thinking I was all afraid that I'm going to hand it to some guy who's going to make some comment to me about Christianity or whatever. And the one guy, when I winds up in my car, and I handed it to him anyway. So all he had to do was hand the thing to me, and everything was fine. And the reason I bring that up is, if you guys have the opportunity to speak about Rollan when you're in Iowa, and you're worried, maybe you're not used to speaking in public, maybe you're not used to that. Everyone that I've seen on this call, though, happens to be an eloquent speaker, so I don't think we have that much of a problem with that. But if maybe you're not normally that way, I just want you to know that God already has a plan. I mean, basically what Rollan said. These people, God has put you in the position to have this conversation at this time, right here, right now, so that you can have an impact, not just on this country, but on the world. And I think when I hear Rollan talk about, how he cares about how the people around him are being treated, that they are being treated as well as him. I asked this, and I'm not trying to put Donald Trump down. I think Donald Trump did a lot of some good things. But I don't think Donald Trump has ever been so concerned about whether or not, the people around him were treated as well as him. And I would almost make the argument that if they were treated as well as him, he might get a little jealous. And that's the difference in the kind of leadership. To me, a leader isn't somebody who looks for gratification from everybody else and that everybody's going to treat well. A leader wins when the people who elected him are winning, and the leader wins when the people around him are around him to help him win. It is a community. It is a working thing where both sides serve each other, not one over the other. And it's very seldom that we get to see that in politics. I've seen it in business. I've seen it in community groups. I've seen it in other places when leaders' biggest concern was the community around him, and the community's biggest concern was the leader winning, and that they could win together. It wasn't one over the other. It wasn't a net zero game. And so much of politics is a net zero game because everybody's about themselves. And we are running and we are running with Dr. Roberts because we're tired of the net zero game. We're tired of nobody winning. We need to win together. We don't win if Africa wins and we're able to invest in Africa. America wins. We're not pitted against each other in some sort of manipulative game that's been going on for centuries. We're standing up against that, and we're doing it God's way. What's better than that? So, I talk about money every day. I'm not even going to bring that up today. You guys know. But really, at the end of the day, what we're doing, what we're serving, I am happy every day that I get, every night I get on this call, no matter how tired I am. I'm tired. I'm working really hard. And I'm traveling. And it doesn't matter how tired I'm lifted on this call because I know that my purpose in life is to make this place a little bit better than when I came into it.
Greg, if
So
you were right here,
and I know that by helping Rollan,
Greg, if you were right
achieve
here,
this
I'd give
beautiful
you a
thing.
big hug.
Yeah,
I
I'm just
would.
I'm very thankful. I'm thankful not just for all, but for every one of you that are on this call. I don't just, I always believed in God, but this call is making me believe in people again.
Hmm. Hmm. That is a good, that's a good state. That's interesting. That is good. I always believe in God, but this is making me believe in people again. You know, there's a lot of people I think that struggle with that. When you look at society, you just go to the grocery store. Dr. Wilson, you're shaking your head. You see it, you know, and especially the work that you do start to lose faith in people. Because people will always seem to let you down and they don't do what they say. But you see that there are people out there who are consistent and faithful and that stand up. And what you said with what this meeting does in the evenings for you, Greg, that is my prayer as President of the United States, that people, when they are done with a long day's work, when they're done with the troubles of the day, and they've dealt with all the obstacles and the challenges, and they get home and they're exhausted and they're tired from building their dream and working during the day, that we don't pile on a bunch of bad news, but that if they are getting news recaps from the President of the United States that day, which the news covers quite extensively, that instead it's a sigh of relief. It's a sense of calm. It's peace in the home. I believe it will do on a nightly basis for the United States of America what this call has done for us. So I'm grateful for your words. Dr. Melody Garcia, the floor is yours.
Thank you, our president, Dr. Rollan Roberts. You know, Mark and I have been here since the day that he announced his candidacy. And as we have shared over and over again, you know, this is a faith-driven testimony of gigantic proportions when it comes into reality. So this brings me to Hebrews 11, 1-6, which I wanted to close with this evening, you know, from my part, that says, now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. And we've been sending and seeing a lot of those miracles along the way from the time that he announced his candidacy. For by it the elders obtained a good testimony, which is basically, this is one big testimony, month over month over month, meeting over just this last 11 nights has been one testimony after the other. Candidate dropping off as of yesterday, another one, the title is like another one bites the dust, and yet we keep rising. By faith, we understand that the worlds were framed by the word of God, so that the things which are seen were not made of things which are visible. This is what the platform has been running on, is faith since day one. And the greatest joy I've had was the growth, my own personal growth of being in step with our leader here, not falling on the wayside. He's making sure that everybody on the team, and this is really his heart, he may have the title of president, he may have the duties and responsibilities of as a leader, but he doesn't treat anybody in this team anything less than a leader themselves in their own right. And it's rare to find a president, it's rare to find a man who has accomplished so much to never let his ego get ahead of anything that he in his handling. So I just wanted to say personally, Dr. Rollan, thank you for being such a special kingdom man, a kingdom leader, that to what Greg had stated, you know, it made him believe in people again. In my personal case, and I think I can speak safely on everyone's behalf here, we all grew with you. It doesn't matter if we've known you for 8 years, 9 years, 8 days, or 8 hours, we all grew with you because of the vision and the heart that God had given you on the mantlings that you have. We have our team here all the way from Kenya who's been with us since Sunday nonstop, building those blogs, you know, just pouring their hearts on. Shantae Paris is here. And I just want to give a testimonial that one of the guests that was introduced last night made an effort to really be here and is battling stage 4 cancer. That is the dedication of, I want to see why you are so supportive of this man. And as soon as the Zoom was over, sent me a message. He is the man called for such a time as this. So one, to give that testimony, I'm not going to name who among all the people that had come in, but I knew the situation and was just pleasantly moved that she made, when you're facing serious illness like that, time is precious. Where you dedicate your time is precious, and time is a gift that can never be taken for granted. And the mere fact that she hung in there for an hour and a half or however long we went last night speaks volumes of her just listening intently, right? Listening intently and saying, I was in the right place and I understand now. So I wanted to share that with you.
Thank you, Dr. Melody. If you didn't know before tonight, I hope you know now that this is the Lord's doing. This is not ours. I can tell you, in my perfect world, I would have been putting my son to sleep with my wife the last 2 weeks. Not necessarily even being, normally doing, I wouldn't be doing business at night, or things of that nature, things that would normally take me away. I would spend time with them. I wouldn't have been on the road the way I've been on the road and driving and flying and traveling and meeting and on calls, and when I'm not, all day, every day, 7 days a week for a year. To sit in the house behind me and experience nothing but assaults and slanders and difficulties of the enemy, not people, spirits, enemy spirits. And it comes through people. It'll always come out of a mouth, but it's not them. So I don't hate them. I don't disparage them. I understand where it's coming from. But it's not something that you just do. There's nothing illustrious for me. I'm already in motorcades when I'm in Africa, when I'm in South Sudan, when I'm in Ghana. I mean, some of them are even on YouTube. You can see some of the motorcades, that transport me and my wife. So there's nothing, different, except I can't go get a coffee when I feel like it anymore. So it really, there's the only benefits is what happens for me in eternity, and for my children, and for every person in the world, every believer in the world to know there was someone. There has been one of us. There was someone who stood up for righteousness that God had prepared in a lot of different ways for this unique time in history. Do you know, just like in companies, the right CEO for a company, it changes. That's why there's so much turnover. The average CEO tenure is only 18 months. 18 months. And it's because business cycles go so rapidly that what the CEO you needed in this season is not the CEO you need in that season. Now, once it gets to stage 3, 4, 5, you can get more of a longer term leader, but at that point, you're not getting really a visionary. Those are the first couple leaders. The first few CEOs are the visionaries. Then you need to get into someone who can just stabilize. Someone who can, you're not going to grow. You're not going to have extreme growth like you did in the heyday, but you're also not going to tank. And then while you're in that kind of plateau and maybe incremental growth phase, you're buttoning up the systems. You're making things actually work because you realize you grew so fast that people just did what you had to do, but it's not really sustainable. And so you put in infrastructure and things that might take 2 years to implement and 3 years, and you replace faulty equipment. I mean, that's the time that you're really doing the nuts and bolts and all. And all I can tell you is at this time in history, with all of the problems in the world, and we can address all of them militarily, spiritual wars, information wars, economically, educationally, with the family, and a lot of people may recognize the need, but you can't implement the solution if it's apart from God. And so you've got a big problem there with political candidates because they don't even know how to cross that bridge. Even if they acknowledge there's the breakdown of the family, okay, what's the solution? How do we help? What does that even look like? See, they don't even know where to begin on that conversation. And then you can go down the list, and that is the biggest challenge with all of it. You know, America needs God. I personally need him. But America, we need him as a nation because he said that righteousness exalts a nation and that blessed is the nation whose God is the Lord. And he also gave that those are the great, exciting, wonderful things. There was also the curse, the other side of it, that what happens to all nations that forget God. That curse to all nations that forget God is so it's complete destruction. And so the way I view it is we are standing at this particular time in history. All of the issues matter. Like Dr. Shirley said last night, all of the rights matter. All of the issues matter. But that's not what the presidency is about. This presidency is standing in the gap between good and evil, between right and wrong, between the enemy that wants to destroy you and destroy your family and destroy your children and destroy your home and destroy your business and destroy your way of life and destroy your freedoms and your religious liberties, and those who, and that of righteousness and what is right, wholesome, honorable, decent, and good once again. That is what this presidency spans. And so I am so excited. I want to close by asking everyone, reach out to everyone that has joined us. I know we've had different guests every single night, and we're so thankful. We welcome you and certainly want to hear from as many as possible. Tomorrow night is the final night. It's one big pep rally. It's going to be a great time. I'm only going to say a couple words, and then I want to hear from people. We want hands like popping up like popcorn, and just saying what these 2 weeks have meant to you, because this has been a special time. By the way, when we have the victory Monday night, some of you are going to be writing books about this. Some of you are chronicling and journaling what's been going on. And I was even today, I was talking with the Lord about this. I said, come Tuesday, they're like, be ready for Fox and Friends, be ready for Good Morning America, be ready for everybody. Everybody's going to want to talk to you, Tuesday morning after the big upset. And I was thinking to myself, because I'm going to be with my family. I'm going to be flying back early morning to be with my family on Tuesday because I have to be in South Carolina campaigning on Wednesday. I'll be on Fox News 24 out of Charleston, South Carolina, next Wednesday. So I want to spend and celebrate with my family. And then, no matter what, I've got to be in South Carolina because that's, you got New Hampshire and then South Carolina. So I'll be right there, less than 48 hours later, 36 hours later. So, but I want you to, but I was thinking about how I have 100 people. All we have to do is look at the people who have been with us these 2 weeks. And what I was saying to them is I said, just give them their names and their number and they can interview them about what happened. They want to know how this happened. They want to know what happened. They don't need to talk to me. You don't need to talk to me. Talk to the people who made it happen. Talk to the people who did it. Talk to the people who believed. who mobilized, who organized. That's who I want you talking to. And of course, that's all of you. So I'm very grateful. Thank you for your support. Most of all, thank you for being obedient to a higher calling in your life on this journey and this mission. And all of our faith has grown. You've been a blessing and an encouragement to me. And thank you, Dr. Mully, for those great words. So on behalf of Rollan Roberts for president, the entire campaign team, all of the wonderful leaders in Iowa, Pastor Success, Pastor Rayleigh, thank you all so much, Dr. Wilson. We look forward to seeing all of you tomorrow night. Good evening and God bless each of you.
God bless. Good night.